Welcome back to OverThink, the Overwatch game show where I ask contestants hot takes and see where they stand, with the 3 circles representing the disagree stance, the neutral stance, and the agree stance. The lines in between representing the somewhat stances. If you didn't know, anybody could participate in this game show. I have open signups in my Discord server, so feel free to sign up there. Also, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I also host these live on Twitch, so go follow me there. And if you want to suggest any hot takes or themes for future episodes, please comment them down below as well. In today's episode, I brought on 10 one-tricks to find out what we've all been wondering. Do all one-tricks think the same? Let's find out. Most of my losses aren't my fault. Go.
Yeah, I don't think they're my fault. I don't know.
Really, at the end of the day, as Mercy, what am I doing to cause the losses? I'm healing, I'm damage boosting, I'm flying around. If I'm not dying, then I'm doing my job, you know? If I'm dying a lot, then there's a problem, then that's definitely on me. But if I'm just doing my role and doing my job well, then it can't really be on me. But usually some people always think it is.
Yeah, I stand in neutral pretty much because there's so many factors to actually affect a win or a loss. There's there's no way I could define it any stand. And if I had to think of like agreeing or disagreeing, it will probably end up with my noggin ending up exploding like all my bombs, which we don't want happening.
I think that there's always something that you can do better, you know. I don't think that everything that happens in a game is automatically your fault. I do think that no matter what did happen, like there are ways and plays in that game that you could have improved at. So while I wouldn't say that it's fair to put 100% of the blame on yourself, there are always things that you can improve.
Yeah, so I believe that it's definitely my fault. So if my teammates are playing horribly, I should just play better to compensate. And if I'm not compensating, then I'll take the loss. That's kind of my fault. Like, all these people are in the same rank as me for a reason, because we all play at the same skill level. So, like, honestly, I shouldn't be expecting my teammates to be any better than I am. So if I ever want to actually climb, I just should have to play better.
I hard disagree on this because it's pretty irrelevant to focus on your team whatsoever. It's not that I think there aren't games that you can't win. There are definitely games like that, but there's no purpose to blaming your team at all. Like, if you care about if you can win the game or not, then you should focus on what you can control, which is your own play. And I think that's really what actually matters when it comes to that sort of part of the discussion.
Before we move back to the middle, is there anybody who would like to change their stance?
Yes.
I would. Yes.
Okay, so if you'd like to change your stance, go ahead and do so now. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have a lot of people that shifted towards the disagree now. Can I hear from everybody who just shifted over?
After hearing what the disagree had to say, I definitely am leaning towards somewhat disagree, because though every single loss being my fault, probably not. But every single game that I lose, I can probably look at something that I did wrong, and it might have been my fault, it might not have been, but I can definitely improve every single game. It doesn't mean it's always my fault, though.
I decided to come over here due to Gallus' words. I think they won me over, and I think that also is by nature of the fact that I play a tank that's generally over history been very, I guess, trusted by the team. Rarely is it flamed if I'm picked as this one trick, so I think that's why I'm comfortable to move here.
If I diversified my hero pool, I'd likely win more. Go. Huh. Interesting. Okay. All right, we have at least one person in each stance, except neutral.
I personally think that if I knew how to play more characters, then yeah, of course I would win. I would be able to fulfill more metas and not just play Mercy all the time and every single game and hope that my skills can be good enough to be a substitute for what the meta is. If I could play what is the meta, then yeah, I would win more.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can say that I am not very good at most hit scan characters. Junkrat is not a hit scan character by any means, and I feel like if I were able to play hit scans better, it would lead to more diversified teams that would lead to more wins.
I feel like when you're playing the game and if you're having a miserable time and you're only playing one person, like one hero, then it's better to learn, because my mindset is always picking Mercy, but if there's like a Winston Sommer Tracer and I can't play into Mercy into that, like I'm gonna learn how to play Kiriko or something because I don't want to have a miserable time playing the game.
For the most part, I'm good at Reaper because of the time that I put into him, but also because his playstyle really fits my own, right? So, I like to spend a lot of time going and putting as much DPS into people as I possibly can. So having to adapt, while I do think that generally that could be good for people who have more diverse playstyles on their own, it's not necessarily for everyone, or not at least something that they could do and also enjoy the game.
I got into the agree stand merely because I think that getting into more characters than just one or maybe two doesn't let you grind enough hours to actually like grow up as a player in Overwatch. Like for example, think about if you're playing 3 characters instead of 1, you'll be dedicating 1/3 of the time you dedicate playing each character instead of playing 1. So you will take a lot more time to actually get the same levels you'll get with 1 character to a 3. And also, I feel it's a bit more challenging to like playing with 1 and then to adapt to different play styles depending on what the enemy team chooses. So yeah, it actually makes it a bit more challenging that.
Like for me personally, I would be a worse rank because pretty much one-tricking is my claim to reaching the rank I am now. I'm in mid-masters. I think that past 2 to 3 heroes, you are really handicapping yourself in actually being able to learn and be good at a hero. I think the game is too complicated and people don't give it enough credit for how deep and complex it is. Overwatch League players won't flex super hard. You can't do it either. And it is actually kind of the same thing. Coaches who teach bronze players will not tell you to flex to every character and everything like that. 2 to 3 characters or 1 where you can learn the fundamentals of the game will take you from bronze all the way to top 500 because the game's just too messy.
I personally believe that it doesn't matter whether you play one hero or multiple heroes. Like as far as your win rate is concerned, I think it's more about like how you play them, how you go about improving. I'm speaking from experience, but I also have an account where I play heroes other than my one trick, and it's ranked like flat while I'm in masters. So I think there's no correlation.
One tricks are healthy for the game, though.
So I think one-tricks are good for the game, mostly because, I mean, if you're a one-trick, you play the character the most, which means you know how to play the character the best. No one else can probably play it better than you, unless they're higher rank. Yeah, so I think they're better for the team than, like, people who flex, and it doesn't hurt to have a one-trick, honestly.
Personally, I agree that being able to play a character pretty well is generally, what you want in a game about playing a lot of different characters. But in certain situations where the enemy team is picking around you, I do think that it can be not as healthy when they're destroying you because you're playing the one person that you know how to do and are therefore unable to switch off of from there. So in a lot of cases, if you're playing against a team who isn't as much flexing around you, then I think it can be super duper healthy to be really good at a certain character.
I think it's important that you do have that ability to be able to switch as a one trick. Because by tank nature, it's a very rock, scissors, paper meta at the moment, and you will need to switch. Otherwise, your entire team's going to turn against you, or the game's just not going to be fun. So I think that's why I couldn't go to hard agree.
I just think if you're playing the game and you're having fun, then that's healthy for it. But yeah, you do handicap your team with, what you could work with if you're one trick.
Coming from personal experiences, I found that one tricks are just toxic overall for gameplay. Just if you only play one character and you refuse to play any other characters, you're making not a fun experience for everybody else playing the game, and that's at the end of the day what this game is about. It's about having fun, and if nobody's having fun in the match, then the game itself just isn't very fun.
Is there anybody that disagrees with that statement?
I definitely do. I feel like ruining other people's fun, that doesn't matter. I think they should be able to find a way to have fun in the game that they're playing, like without thinking about what their teammates are doing. Like, you don't have to make the game fun for other people. You make the game fun for yourself, right?
Now it is time to debate. So it would pretty much be Tape Dispenser against the world here. And then who would like to oppose him?
I would love to oppose him.
I think we should do Junkrat versus Junkrat, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
We have our Beach Junkrat here thinking, yeah, they are healthy for the game. And then we have Tape Dispenser, our Junkenstein Junkrat going, I don't think so.
I do think one tricks are healthy for the game because if you are one trick, you're gonna get a lot more experience in a lot less amount of time played in Overwatch with the character. You're gonna get a lot better than if you have like a handful of lots of heroes you play, but you barely play 1 hour of each of them a week.
Well, I mean, okay,
things.
at that point, so you're basically saying one
experience is the key,
because one tricks are healthy for the game because if nobody wants trick anything, you're gonna have to play every character for at least an hour a day every day to be good at the game. I feel like that argument's flawed a little
I'm not
bit.
referring to that. I'm referring like if you just diverse your amount of characters so much, you're probably gonna play any of them a good amount to actually become really good at them. Like you have to play like for years to actually become so good at all of them to reach like the highest rank. If you just keep swapping, and also you probably get more frustrated because if you keep swapping and it doesn't work, you're gonna get really frustrated.
Well, I think it's better to switch off of, like, I mean, we're both Junkrat mains here. Pharahs and Echoes are the banes of our existences for the most part.
They are, but you can play against them. You can always go
indoors. In certain, I mean, how often, you said earlier, play inside. How often is a Pharah going to go inside? Especially if they have a Mercy pocket. They're never going to go inside. So, would you rather just be dead weight on your team who can maybe do something on the ground?
Oh,
or
not
necessarily. Would you rather switch to maybe an off pick that you're maybe not so comfortable on, but you can maybe apply pressure in other ways other than just being dead weight because the Pharah knows you can't hit her, so she's gonna...
Not death weight, because I might be indoors, but when I'm indoors, I'm looking for off angles, I'm looking for flanks, I'm looking to harass the enemy supports or to blow up the tank where the Pharah isn't watching. There's lots of things you can do while not focusing a Pharah, and if the Pharah gets too greedy, you can always wait if you're off angle where she picks in, mine up, and blow it up, as I like to say.
I just don't know if I agree with, because my thing is, I know when I'm being dead weight. Like if I'm doing so poorly as the character that I solely play, I might just switch off of it because I know I'm hindering the rest of my team. That's why I think in instances like that, being a one trick can be not a good thing.
That's the thing of the one tricks, learning not to be at death weight. Learning when you have a bad matchup, looking for ways when you can still get value and not be completely denied by that counter that someone just swapped on, which probably they have a lot less experience than the hero they originally wanted to play. You're forcing them off the hero they wanted to play, so they aren't getting as much value, and you're also finding value outside your comfort zone. But if you know how to find the value, you won't be death weight, and the other guy who picked Pharah maybe won't be getting as much value as he would have been, like, for example, using his main Cassidy or using something else. Like outside of jungle, like for example tank mains. The good thing about having a tank main, they cannot be contested. Like they if they're a tank main, they usually know how to deal with each tank matchup. Like if they have a bad matchup, there's always ways the tank can play around it. Like for example, Gallows here, jungle queen main. She has to play around for Azaria. Azaria is supposed to be a counter jungle queen, but she can, for example, wait out the bubble and actually do things where the Azaria has no bubbles on, and that goes on and on and on. Like the good thing about having a one trick is that the one trick will probably know how to play mostly against everything because of all the hours they've been playing on that character to face almost anything they could be ever facing.
I think the thing that I don't particularly care for about one tricks, and I mean I'm a one trick main, so I guess I'm a one trick myself, so I guess like this is what I hate about myself. I hate myself. It's like sometimes we could just be toxic about it too. Like we could just be so defiant about playing somebody else other than that one designated character that for whatever reason we've chosen to lock in on. And I don't want to compare Overwatch to like other video games.
Yeah.
But I mean like I also play like League of Legends.Ing a one trick in League of Legends is a lot different than I know. Being a one trick in League of Legends is way different than being a one trick in
really
Overwatch.
Know about the game, so yeah.
Because in Overwatch, I feel like you're supposed to be maybe not super versatile, but versatile enough that if there is a bad matchup, you should have at least a little knowledge on a different character.
That doesn't mean they are unhealthy for the game, because even if they are one trick, they have some.
But that does mean that they are unhealthy. I mean, if you're just so
But
defiant
that's
on
the
playing
point
a
of the
different
debate.
character,
Are they unhealthy or not?
I still think that they're, for the most part, unhealthy for the game. I think if you're only playing one character, no matter what rank you are, I just think it's unhealthy because of the limitations that you're setting on your team. Like, you're basically telling your team, all right, I only play this one character, and if it's not good in this matchup, well, sorry, it might be a guaranteed loss because I only know how to play this one character.
Have we made any progress towards like seeing eye to eye, or do we still feel kind of stuck in our opinions, or what's the vibe?
I don't think Dave has changed much of your opinion.
I think that I would still consider one tricks not super healthy for the game.
I belong in the rank I'm in. Go.
Yeah, I feel like I deserve. I mean, if there's a rank higher, then I'd be in disagree, but I can't really go anywhere. I feel like I could definitely do something on Torb and Owl for sure.
Just by definition, you are always in the rank where you belong. Like, even if you drop out for a couple of games, then you will make it back up if you're good enough.
Of course, I've spent a lot of time playing competitive mode, and I've spent a lot of time trying to rank up and go through that grind. But I'm only in somewhat agree, because I do think I was a little, I don't want to say boosted, but helped by the character I was playing. I am playing a pretty easy character, one that if I were to translate my skills on Mercy to a character like, I don't know what's the hard character, Soldier, and for aim, I guess, I wouldn't be in the rank that I am now at all. So I'm only in somewhat agree because the character I'm playing.
Mostly the only reason I'm not in agree is because of something that happened to me recently. I had like a huge loss streak recently when I won like 12 games lost and 5-1, and now I'm again in another queue and I won like 4 in a row and like 1 to rank up. So I'm like, I just fluctuated down and now I seem to be destroying my game. So yeah, I'm definitely not in the correct rank right now.
I was hard pressed to even say neutral here, but I think that a lot of the reason why I am the rank I am is, I think it's got somewhat to do with me, but it also depends a lot on my team, because I personally play a lot of solo queue. I don't play with a set group of people most of the time, so I'm heavily relying on the communication with the other 4 randos that I just got in my game to help me win this game. So I think, no, I don't really deserve my current rank, but I'm not really all for the complete disagree.
I think I'm going to have to speak a bit from the OCE experience. We've got a small community, so generally climbing is a bit tougher, and if we do wish to do that, we may have to rely on sources to get us over to the NA servers for different ping, and no one wants to play on ping. So I generally have more fun in the lower ranks. I'm happy where I am. I think the season, a couple seasons ago, pushed us all up in rank, so I decided, let's try hit Masters. But ultimately, I'm never really trying to hit the high rank. I'm more just playing for fun, but I do think I'd probably be a lot higher if I put my head to it.
Is there anybody that would like to change their stance? Oh, one person.
Something I didn't think about was I really disagree with the hidden MMR system. I think there are a lot of players who just get burned by going 5-0 and staying the same rank or even dropping. I think it's one of those cases where I don't really see it work this way in other games, and the fact that it's hidden and doesn't really manage player expectations well enough is kind of one of those things that makes me think, I don't really know how accurate the rank system is or if it's as fair as it should be. Again, it's just a system to show you a number. I think the stuff happening behind the scenes seems a bit almost unnecessary.
My counters don't really give me that many problems. Go.
This might seem funny for some, but actually I'm not having that much problem with my counters since I started learning some new playstyles, which Changra. It's like if the enemy likes to go Pharah or Echo, you just change for like going all in the open to just start using like indoors or those spaces where they can easily get to you unless they want to put themselves at risk of being one-shot combo in the face or just getting into a trap or finding a grenade right into the face. And sometimes if I am able to get them distracted, I might jump on them and throw a mine or two and maybe blow them up. It's actually kind of funny when it does.
I never really had that much of an issue with counters, and I don't know if it's because of me or because of my character, but even I used to be in silver, and I played throughout all the ranks, going up to Grandmaster, and throughout the whole time, I never really had issue. I can't really pinpoint why.
So it'll be on me. I can't play Mercy against the Winston the same way I play Mercy against the Soldier, so it's on me to swap my playstyle mid-game. And yeah, so like they don't really give me a hard time if I know what I'm doing and I know how to play against each of my counters.
So I think Bo is a bit infamous for having a lot of counters like Dive Tank. But personally, yeah, I agree that counters exist and they do require you to switch up your playstyle a lot, but I think that once you understand how to play into them, they are still a challenge to play against, but like they're not as oppressive as you would think.
I think I'm just indifferent to the concept of counters in this question. However, it does affect the team. And then it affects how they react to your playstyle. So ultimately, I would say counters don't matter, but then they do, and just ultimately, it wouldn't affect me, but then I'm always there considering my team, just in this role. But yeah, like if there's an Orisa, which is hard for Rhine players, or a Sombra, like it's going to be a bad day for me. I have to acknowledge that, but depending on the situation, push through. But at the end of the day, if the team needs something different, I try to ask them to counter my counters, and then see if we can work from there.
In the nature of one trick, you play that one character exclusively and you play them very well. However, when it comes to me at least, Junkrat, if the enemy team locks in Echo or Pharah specifically and they play them really well, I'm screwed. I need my team to kind of play around the fact that I can't hit a Pharah or an Echo if they're flying around, especially if they have a Mercy pocket, or even to some extent a Hanzo or a Widowmaker, because there's no way my bombs go far, but they're not going halfway across the map to hit that Widowmaker that's sitting in the corner over there.
I was about to say pretty much exactly what Tape was going to say, but in a lot of situations, especially because I don't know a lot about meta personally, but I do know that I've seen that Reaper has never been like the top pick in most cases. So in cases where I'm against somebody with extremely far range like Widow or Pharah, it makes it basically impossible for me to really focus on that character super strongly. My sole purpose is to get damage, and I can't do that for the people who super counter me, so it can certainly put a huge wrench on my gameplay.
I get frustrated whenever there's another one trick on my team. Go.
Yeah, I really hate it when someone takes Lucio from me. That's like the only time I'll be bothered if you're a one trick. I can only basically play Lucio, so if someone takes it, I'm basically throwing the whole game. Not on purpose, but I'm just gonna lose. We're just gonna lose. Yeah, other than that, I'm fine with most one tricks.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Nevermind said. If someone takes Junkrat from me, I'm not going to be throwing on purpose, but I really can only play Junkrat for the most part. The only other time I might say that it's inconvenient to have a one trick on the same team is if, like, let's say I'm Junkrat and they're Symmetra and they have a pharmacy. Nobody's going to be having a good time, and then we're reliant on maybe our tank or our healers to try and compensate for the fact that neither of us can hit the flying Pharah pharmacy in the sky.
1 out of 38 times when there's a one trick on my team, 1 out of 37 times there's a one trick on my team, it's gonna be a character that I don't play. So all those times I'm not upset. I'm also one tricking. I don't care if they one trick too. But the 1 out of 38 times that the other support plays Mercy, that's the only time I'm frustrated. It's kind of the same argument as a somewhat degree, but not focusing on when they pick it, focusing on the fact that there's other 37 times that they won't.
Usually if the one trick on my team is a Mercy, I'm like, okay, this is the moment I've trained for. I need to pick another support. I need to see what's going to work best with this Mercy, because they probably, in a nice way, they probably can't play anything else. So it's kind of like a test of my skill, maybe.
I don't ever get frustrated what anyone does on my team. because I like to adopt the mindset of if I want to be the very best and be like rank 1, like nobody can touch me, then I cannot care what anybody on my team does.
In basically 99% of cases, it isn't a super big problem. Mainly just because, like, while I'm certainly a one-trick Reaper, if somebody takes Reaper and I can't play them, even in that case, I usually think that it's more like I'm able to now better play around that person because I know generally how Reaper is supposed to play. So even if somebody takes my precious away from me, it's still somewhat easy to think about how I should play around that and what I should expect from the team.
I get a lot of harassment for being a one-trick. Go.
Personally, I feel like I don't know if any other one-tricks experiences, but every time there's a loss, regardless of how well I do, every time there's like a ball swap, ball switch, something like that. So I don't know if it's just the character, or maybe if I'm just that bad. But and sometimes when we win as well. So yeah, like it's normal for me to get reported after the game and stuff like that.
It's not really that I get crap all the time for being a one-trick. It's actually more so that I get crap for being a Junkrat one-trick specifically. I recall one time I was in a competitive game and I was actually playing with another DPS one-trick and a support one-trick, and everybody in the game gave me crap because I was specifically a Junkrat one-trick. So I don't know if it's just because people don't like Junkrat. I don't know what they have against Junkrat. That's my experience with people just complaining about my character.
In my personal experience, it's definitely 50-50. And like as a Mercy main, what happened I heard thrown at me, like I've heard it all. So it'll always be there. I'll never interact with these people again in my life. So I just ignore them and move on. Like I'll just leave voice chat, mute the chat. Like I have options to get rid of the harassment. So
I used to get a lot of hate and stuff, and then I think I've been doing it for like, I don't even know how long the game's been out now, like 7 years. So after like a few years, people realized I do not care. So I don't get really any hate anymore because they just know I don't care, but I used to get a lot.
I definitely agree with what Silvox said about how the 7 years of this game has been out. It was significantly worse before. It's gotten a lot better, but I think it just gets better throughout the ranks, and I can't stress enough to say that that's not going to be experienced for everyone. People might get worse throughout the ranks depending on what you play or who you are even. I hear more insults thrown at me because I'm a woman playing the game, not because I'm a Mercy one-trick.
I think this might just be my experience. People love Reinhardt. He's a very strong tank. Rarely do you get flamed to switch off Reinhardt. It's not a common thing. I think I'd put it in the same pool as I personally love Ana one-tricks. Like there are certain one-tricks who are definitely more praised by the community, and then on the other side of the board, some who are just instantly flamed even before the game started. I think it's just the player base at that point.
So I specifically invited you and our ball one-trick on, keeping in mind like questions like this to see where it would vary. And it turned out exactly how I predicted, where the ball one-trick experiences a ton of harassment. The Reinhardt one-trick is on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and it's like two tank one-tricks, so people can't even argue that it's like, oh, it's a different role, it doesn't have as much value. No, it's still the one tank, but it really just depends on what hero you play that have like different stigmas attached to it and stuff like that. So really interesting to see. That was kind of my prediction of how it would line up, and yeah, it ended up being how it is. I don't think people should ever take my one trick from me. Go.
This is basically because I just love my boy, my Jameson Fox. He's my boy. I love him. He's my favorite Overwatch character. He's my favorite thing to play. And as much as I like to see other jungle one tricks, I want him. He's mine. And I love him.
My simple opinion is just that I'm the best that there ever was, and if somebody ever takes my character, that they don't know what they're doing, and that this is not a good idea for the team. So yeah, that's all I need to say, really.
Yeah, so if I'm playing a comp game, yeah, I don't want you taking Lucio. But you know what? If I had like Frogger or something smurfing in my game, or like Funny Astro or something, yeah, you can take Lucio, man. You're better than me, but like that's never gonna happen. So if it did though, I'd let them take it.
Okay, and then we have 3 people in the neutral. I assume that the tanks, you guys are here because this question isn't super applicable to you, but if you have any experience from Overwatch 1 that you'd like to shed on it, then go ahead.
In terms of Overwatch 1, yeah, it was pretty horrible. I don't think anyone really likes having a one trick taken, I guess, but it's like it comes with the territory, like it's bound to happen. If you want a one trick, you got to lock them first, or that's just how it goes. I think because Blizzard thinks it's worth keeping open queue as a mode, I think the same reasoning can be used to say that there should be a 6v6 mode. I think not being able to experience stuff like Junker Queen as an off tank really sucks. I think that should be something we can have some fun with. And the only other thing I'll say really is I kind of hated when they giga buffed Junker Queen. I liked her better when she was a little bit off meta. I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else has the same sort of experience with their one trick.
You like being quirky and different?
Yeah, I'm so different. Yeah, I'm very special. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what can I do? I'm not gonna take Kasai into the ring and start fighting her for taking Mercy. If she's like the faster insta-locker, which Mercy mains really are, I'm cool with playing another support, but deep down I'm sad, but it'll be good for the rest of the team.
To the 1, to that 1, to that 3. I play easy mode, and I play to win. I love to die, and I like to BRB. All systems checked out. Group up with me. 2 to the 1, to that 1, to that 3. I'm here to party. GG. A giant gorilla can keep up with me. You can't be serious. I'm the queen bee. Get out of the way. I'm the MVP.